Yahweh, King of the universe, we humbly come before you. Please open our minds and hearts to the wisdom in your holy word. Guide our conversation today as we delve into this ancient story of Judah and Tamar, seeking understanding for our lives as your servants. Amen. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a really fascinating and frankly quite relevant story from Genesis chapter 38, the account of Judah and Tamar.
Sure, really is.
It's a narrative just packed with family dynamics, unexpected turns, and a powerful look at justice and redemption, all through our lens as Israelites, as followers of Yahweh. You know, even with all the talk online today about accountability, personal responsibility, this ancient story, it has some surprisingly sharp insights. We'll be drawing a lot from the Truth and Life channel's breakdown to help us unpack it.
Yeah, it's a great resource. And what's immediately striking, I think, is how this story shows Yahweh's plan unfolding through, well, very human people, flawed people sometimes.
Absolutely. We see Judah's imperfections right away, don't we? His role in the whole Joseph situation back in Genesis 37. It shows he wasn't always walking the straight path.
Not at all. And it's a good reminder, isn't it, that Yahweh's grace reaches even those with a, let's say, complicated past.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then comes Judah's decision to marry Shua, a Canaanite woman. That really stands out.
It does. A definite departure from tradition, from marrying within the covenant community. It sort of suggests maybe a bit of detachment from his upbringing.
Could be. And they have 3 sons, Onan, and Shelah. This kind of sets the stage for all the drama that follows.
Exactly. So Tamar marries the firstborn. She comes into the family hoping to continue the line, which was, absolutely central in ancient Israelite society.
Right.
But Genesis 38:7 is stark. Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. Just like that.
And suddenly Tamar's a widow. In that culture, an incredibly vulnerable position. Her security was so tied to her husband to having sons.
Precisely. Which brings us to the Levirate marriage custom.
Ah, yes. Judah tells his second son, Onan, okay, you need to marry Tamar. Raise up an heir for your brother.
It's his duty. But Onan, well, he refuses. Not outright, but Genesis 38:9 is pretty graphic about how he deliberately avoids fulfilling his obligation. It's pure self-interest over family duty, over his brother's legacy.
And Yahweh sees this. Onan's subsequent death really underscores Yahweh's displeasure with that kind of disregard for responsibility. It still resonates today, I think, these questions of duty and commitment.
Absolutely. And what happens next is also significant. Judah's broken promise.
Yeah.
He tells Tamar, go back to your father's house, wait for my youngest son, Shelah, to grow up.
Implying, then Shelah will marry you.
Right, but time passes, Shelah grows up, and Judah, he doesn't give her to him, he reneges on his word.
Leaving Tamar in limbo. An awful situation facing this uncertain future because Judah just lacked integrity.
So Tamar, denied justice, facing this bleak outlook, she decides to act.
It's quite something. She hears Judah's going to Timnah for the sheep, shearing a big, probably public event. She takes off her widow's clothes, veils herself like a different kind of woman, and positions herself by the road where she knows he'll pass.
It's incredibly bold, proactive. You almost see echoes today, don't you? People finding unconventional routes to seek fairness when the system fails them.
Definitely. And the encounter itself, Judah has no idea who she is.
None at all. He mistakes her for a roadside prostitute.
And he agrees to her terms. She asks for a pledge until he sends the payment, a young goat. And what does she ask for?
His signet ring, his cord, and his staff. Hugely personal items, symbols of his identity, his authority.
He gives them to her, unwittingly handing her the proof she'll need later.
Exactly. So fast forward a few months, word gets to Judah, Tamar is pregnant.
And his reaction? Outrage. Hypocrisy, really. He orders her to be brought out and burned for apparent unfaithfulness.
But Tamar is ready. She doesn't accuse him directly at first. She sends the items back to him.
With that message, by the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant. She asks him to identify them.
Imagine that moment. Judah seeing his signet, his cord, his staff. The realization must have hit him like a ton of bricks.
And his response is crucial. He doesn't try to cover it up. He says, she is more righteous than I because I did not give her to my son Shelah.
Wow. That's a powerful admission.
Yeah.
He recognizes his own failure, his own injustice, and Tamar's righteousness in her desperate actions.
Truly. And from this very unconventional union, twins are born, Perez and Zerah.
And Perez's birth is noted as unusual too, breaking out first. It's Perez's line, incredibly, that continues down through the generations
All the way to King David.
and ultimately to Yeshua, our Messiah. It's just amazing. It shows how Yahweh's redemptive plan works through totally unexpected situations, even through human sin and failure. What seemed like a scandal becomes pivotal.
So when we look at this whole story through our faith lens, these powerful themes just jump out. Accountability, Judah and Onan faced consequences. Just as Tamar sought it unconventionally, but Yahweh vindicated her actions in a way.
And overriding everything is Yahweh's sovereignty. His ability to weave his purposes, even through our messes, our broken promises, our mistakes don't necessarily stop his plan.
That's so important to remember.
And it brings up a point for us today as followers of Yahweh. Tamar's actions, they were outside the normal social rules, but Judah himself declares her more righteous. It challenges us, doesn't it?
It really does.
What does true righteousness look like? Is it just sticking to the rules, or sometimes does it mean actively pursuing justice, fulfilling obligations, even if it means taking an uncomfortable or unusual path?
That's a deep question. As we wrap up this deep dive on Judah and Tamar, let's hold on to that truth. Yahweh's justice, his grace, they show up in surprising ways. Even when humans fail, his purposes press on. So here's a final thought for you to ponder. How does Tamar's pursuit of justice challenge your own ideas about righteousness and your responsibility to act justly in your own life as a servant of Yahweh? May Yahweh grant you wisdom as you reflect on this.